so we'll just start rolling. Oh.
Oh, it's 2 o'clock, I'll bet. Yes, it is.
Perfect. All right, just look at me like we're having a conversation, you know.
Which we will.
Yes, we will. All right, if you could just start off your first and last name and the title of your position.
Jack Hodgson, and I'm a member of the Board of Directors of Town and Gown Community Theater.
Awesome, great. Now, can you tell me how long have you been with Town and Gown, and how did you get that position?
I have been with Town and Gown as a volunteer for about 14 years. And as far as my position on the board, I was elected just about a year ago to a 3-year term.
Congratulations. Is that the first time that you've wanted to be a part of the board, or?
Well, I had run for it several years ago and didn't get the position, but that was fine. And then someone had asked me again if I'd be interested in running, and I said sure. So.
Great. Tell us some of the activities you're involved with Town and Gown.
Well, I've been primarily an actor. I've done a few productions as crew. I ran lights for a production last season, and what else? I usually usher at least one performance every show, so whatever they need doing.
Definitely. What's your favorite thing to do?
Well, actually, last September I directed my first play, my first full-length play. It was our opening production of the season, and it was called A Night of January 16th. And I had been bugging people for years to submit it to the play selection committee out there, and several people had read it, they liked it, they were interested, but nobody did it. And then so last spring I just decided I'd give it a shot, and so I submitted it to the play selection committee, and they selected it. So.
Wow. So is it kind of hard? Like, how does Shane was talking about he directed a play that he wrote.
Right.
So what's the process of trying to get a play approved?
Well, actually, it's pretty simple. There's a one-page form you fill out, and you put down the title of the play, the author, what the royalties are for it, which typically around $75 performance, and but for musicals it's a lot more. And then you submit it to the play selection committee. They get together in the spring, they read all the submissions and decide which ones they want to go with. And they're in the process of doing that right now for the next season.
Fantastic. Any plans, upcoming plans for next season?
Hoping to act. The production that's currently underway right now, I was really tempted to try out for, but it's just a 2-person play, and I just didn't have that much time to learn all those lines. But it's a very good play, and would encourage everyone to go see it if they can this week.
Oh, what's it called?
It's called Visiting Mr. Green, and performances are Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 7:30, and a Sunday matinee at 2:30 will be the end of its run.
Wow.
And then we have the summer musical coming up in June, so encourage people to go see that as well.
Definitely. So, can you tell us, you said trying to think back of like working with Shane, but how did you meet Shane? And
I met Shane through Town and Gown. I had been trying out for plays for several seasons, and then finally I joined Town and Gown as a member. It's terribly expensive. It costs $5 for a whole year. But anyway, and so I would go to the regular monthly meetings, and about that time Shane was president of the board, and this was back about 2005, 2006, somewhere in there. And I'd read that he may have been the youngest person ever to serve as chairman of the board, or president of the board. He was, I think, 26 at the time. So.
That's great. Have you worked on any projects or anything maybe on the flip side, on the administration side of Town and Gown?
Well, one of the things we're working on now, I'm on the committee for building and grounds, and so we're always looking for things that we can things that need fixing or we need to improve upon. And we have a storage set on the back side of our building that's in disrepair and really needs to be removed and replaced. So that's one of the things we're working on right now. Not so much removing it, because we can get some help to do that, but what will we replace it with? And it has to be something that's weatherproof, because that's where we keep a lot of our props and things. We have a tremendous amount of props, furniture, dishes, old radios, you name it, we have it. You know how big the TV studio is here. Well, that's about as big as the costume shop, and it is full of costumes. Maybe not quite that big, maybe it's only half as big, but still. We have a lot of things out there that we need to take care of, because you never know what you're going to need when.
Definitely. So have you ever seen Shane act?
Oh, of course.
How would you explain his acting style?
He is very good. He can play a wide variety of characters. Everything from the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz to Sherlock Holmes. In fact, there was an interesting story about one of their performances when they did Sherlock Holmes, and that there was a fire during the performance, or smoke at least started to fill in the theater. So rather than canceling the performance, they simply moved it outdoors and finished it. So I'm sure he could tell you a lot more about that in detail, but the show must go on.
Definitely, definitely. And how about for you, when you're acting, what are some of the challenges that you...
The biggest challenge for me is memorizing lines, which is why I didn't want to try out for the current play. Most of the roles that I've had have been smaller, but I've had a couple larger roles with a lot of lines, and it takes time to really get it down. We'll work on a production for about 6 weeks before it opens, and then of course you have your 2-week run, and usually we're off book, so to speak, 10 days to 2 weeks before our opening night. And, you know, for a few days you can call for a line, but after that you're on your own, and it's sink or swim. And you have to do that, because if you just blank out while you're doing a performance, what are you going to do? You know, so you have to be able to think on your feet, and if you can't remember a line, you go on somehow. Or if one of your cast members on stage with you fumbles a line or something, you know, you have to be able to pick it up and make it right. And I've been on both sides of that.
Definitely. So what are some of the struggles, or maybe some of the benefits of working full-time and then going to Town and Gown and being part of that community?
You meet a lot of great people. It's all volunteer, no one's paid, and they're people who are very dedicated to community theater and providing that kind of activity for Stillwater residents, and really people throughout the area. We have a lot of people from Perkins who are active in the theater as directors, as actors, as crew people, and surrounding communities.
Definitely. Would you say, like you said, you've been, you kind of have to pick and choose what you're going to audition for?
Sure.
Is it hard sometimes when you have to step back and say, I can't do this, even if you really want to do the part? Or is it kind of like you just go with the flow? And
Well, I've been involved in enough productions now, I know what kind of time commitment it's going to take, depending on the role. And so, you know, if I had all kinds of time, I would have tried out for this production, but it seems spring semester is always busier than fall, and fall is terribly busy as it is. So I knew I couldn't do the part justice and keep up my other responsibilities, so just had to let this one go.
definitely happens. You've been 14 years, you said?
About that, yeah.
Yeah. So how have you seen Town and Gown change in that time?
More young people have been getting involved, which is great. We continually need new blood because people, they'll get excited about it at first, and then they're in a number of productions, and maybe they have a role in a play, or maybe they're crew, they're running lights, they're running sound, whatever it might be. And it takes a lot of time, and you can get burned out. And that's happened to a few people. I mean, I get burned out. By the end of a run of a play, that's it. I'm glad. In fact, after the first weekend's performance, wow, I get a night off to myself, and that's nice too. But the the thrill, the excitement of being on stage, and that is very satisfying, which is why I keep doing it.
Definitely. What would you like to see in the future happen at Town and Gown?
Well, something that a number of us have been talking about for years now is the possibility of a new building in the downtown area. And so that's something that we're going to be exploring, the feasibility of it. Obviously, we'd have to have a tremendous fundraiser to get things off the ground. Town of Ghana is very fortunate in that we're in the black. We actually make money. As I said before, everybody's a volunteer, nobody gets paid, but we're able to generate enough in ticket sales and the support we receive from the community and donors as well that enables us to be financially solvent. And that's not always the case with community theater.
Definitely. Is there anything you'd like to add or you think is important to the story or have people know about Town and Gown?
Well, I would just encourage people to come on out, see a play, get involved. We always need help with our productions, even if it's something as simple as ushering at a performance. And it's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of great people, a lot of different people from all walks of life. And so it's a very broadening experience.
Definitely. It sounds so much fun because I was in theater growing up and I miss it a lot sometimes. But,
Well, wherever you end up, get involved.
I know. I really want to try theater or choir, something like that, whatever community I end up in, because I came from choir right now. I'm at OSU here, but it's a lot of, just keeps you.
Stillwater has a community choir as well.
Yes, and he is a part of it sometimes. Shane was talking about
Yeah.
that. Do you do the choir? Or
No.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I bet Town and Gown keeps you busy sometimes, though.
It does.
Yeah. Is there anyone else we get to talk to, or any websites to look up more information about Town and Gown?
Actually, a good person to talk to would be Cody Wittenberg.
Oh, I know Cody. I work with him.
Yeah, he's our current president. And Cody directed the musical last summer. We did Legally Blonde, the musical. And it was awesome. We had 10 sold-out performances. Could have done more. But we had a cast of about 35 people, which is unbelievable. I mean, my cast for my play was 14, and it was difficult. And that, for directors, that's probably one of the biggest challenges is getting people to audition for the play, especially men. I don't know what it is about it, but we always have more women trying out for parts than men. In fact, a couple of the roles, there were actually only 3 female roles in my play, but I ended up casting a couple of the male roles with females. It didn't really matter, except for the period in which the play was set. But I couldn't get enough men. So that's a problem sometimes.
Definitely. I see that happen too. We did a one-act play in high school, and there was 4 girl parts, and the rest were men, and it's like 11 parts technically. So we had a lot of girls that were upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. Girls are very voluntary too. A lot of girls show up. Well, I think that's it, unless you have anything else you want to add.
I don't think so, Megan.
Do you think you want to direct again?
I do. That particular play was something, it was a play that I had been in years ago. And like I said, I really liked it and have been after Town and Gown to do it. And the same playwright, or author, I should say, there's another play of hers being released this summer that I'm going to read and possibly submit, not for the coming season, but for the season after that. So,
Fantastic.
and I may still direct something for next season. We'll see.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hope it helps.